Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. For our welcoming hymn, we'll be singing hymn number 188, Come, Come, Whoever You Are. Please rise in mind, body, or spirit and join us in singing.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation in Fullerton, California. My name is Rev Rob Blair. My pronouns are he, him. We are an inclusive community dedicated to building a safe space for all. In fact, today's sermon is about hospitality in UUs. So I went into Reddit. Y'all know what Reddit is? Yes. Message board. Looked at some UU threads, as they would call it, as the kids call it. And we're going to dive into some of their experiences to see what keeps people coming, and more importantly, what makes people leave, so that we can be a more welcoming congregation. I'm preaching to the choir here because we're so welcoming, but it's going to be a good message, a lot of interesting experiences that I think we can learn from. I love your outfit. The princess crown is amazing. I was going to wear mine today, but yours is amazing. Thank you. However you identify, whoever you love, we're just so glad that you are here. UUCF acknowledges that this land is situated in the original ancestral homelands of the Ahachiman, the K'iche', and the Tongva peoples. We are going to do our best to walk that walk and do more with our indigenous communities in and around Southern California. So know that that is an intention of ours as we continue to be more intentional about our neighbors, our friends, and those who we love, and those who we may not like, but we love, right? Yeah. But we're going to be more intentional about that. So may we have the humility and courage to help restore what has been broken and the wisdom to live into a new solidarity with indigenous communities and the earth. Got a couple of brief announcements for you. Today, we are going to welcome our brand new office administrator that's coming up in just a few. You'll get a chance to meet her and her lovely husband. And we're going to have, of course, anytime something special happens, you know what we have? Cake. Marie Antoinette, let them eat cake. So we will introduce Carrie to you in just a few minutes. Don't forget it's time of year for small group programs. The sign-ups are happening. Small groups will begin in October and run through June of 2027. Please see our weekly announcements that Carrie works so hard to put together for more information on how to sign up. Or you can talk to Mary Botts. She is the queen of small groups. She needs a crown too. We still need help providing groceries and household items for our adopted family. There is a need for perishable food items, eggs and meats and fish, things like that. So if you can help out, please see Debbie Langenbacher She's got her board and ready for you to sign up. Come join us at a hike led by Dale Botts next Saturday, August 15th at Laguna Lake in Fullerton. It's going to cool down into the 80s next weekend, so it's going to be perfect for that. Arrive at 11 o'clock with water, sunscreen, I would say mosquito repellent because of what's going on right now with West Nile. And it's going to be a great day to get some wonderful mountain air with Dale. On Sunday mornings at 11 a.m., we begin setting up for our service, and we need more volunteers to help put all of this together. As you know, First Christian is here. You want to help out already? Oh my goodness. So we need your help in putting things together. It's a quick shift, as you know, from First Christian and their service and our service. So if you can help out, see Harry Langenbacher, and he will put you on the schedule, and we definitely appreciate your help with that. Of course, all the happenings are in our newsletter. If you need to sign up, just see the welcome table, and they will get you taken care of. Our caring listener today is Randy Hedrick. Is Randy here? There she is in the back in the beautiful green. If you just need someone to listen and be present with you, there's a lot of stuff going on right now. We know that things are difficult outside, but things are difficult for us in our everyday lives. So if you need someone to talk to, Randy will be here after the service and will provide a caring listener ear for you. And trust that anything you share is between you and Randy. We'll share joys and sorrows a little bit later in the service. There are little pink pieces of paper back there if you would like a joy or sorrow or concern read. You can also make it anonymous. That's fine, and we will light a candle and send love your way. If you are on Zoom or Facebook Live, we're so glad that you are with us. If you have a joy, concern, or sorrow, put it in the chat box or send a message through Zoom as soon as possible so that we can include you in the service. Now, greet your neighbor, 1 to 2 minutes, and then we will get started with our worship service. Some now I think it's probably 3 or 4. Okay, you can keep standing, but we are going to start our worship service. If you are not, please rise in mind, body, or spirit. As we sing, we belong to one another. Verses, yay! Verses 1 through 3. We finally got there. You may be seated. You didn't know all the words? That's okay. We just hum along. Is this working? Hello? There we go. So, you know, we go through these cycles of saying goodbye to people and appreciating them and then welcoming new people. And so we want to introduce you to Carrie Van Diest. I said that right. Van Diest or Van Diest? Which one do you prefer? Just Carrie. Carrie, would you come up? Carrie is the engine that can. She is our new office administrator, and we want to give a big hearty welcome to someone that you're going to get to know, probably behind the scenes and on the phone, but she has stepped into the role. Amy Steife has trained her very well. And we have to let you know, Carrie and I have known each other for 30 years. We didn't know that, and then we got on a Zoom call, and I'm like, I know her. Turns out we were at Chapman University at the same time in the Doc UCC fellowship, where we got scholarships to go to Chapman University. So we've been on camping trips, we've sung together, we've been around the campfire, and we didn't even know it. And her husband as well. It's good to see you. Nothing's changed in 30 years. You look great. So there will be cake afterwards, but we want to give a hearty welcome, as UUCF always does, and welcome Carrie to the family.
And Rob didn't call me up here, but my name does rhyme with hers, so I think it works. And I met Carrie live in person just last week, and that was the first time that I've seen her, other than on like Hollywood Squares. And so we have some changes coming up, and we're happy about that. And Amy trained her extremely well, but she is not Amy, so don't expect her to know everything. So be kind, be calm, as always, and make sure that if you're going to give her information, don't assume she knows what to do with that information like Amy did, because you get used to us after 5 years, right? So we got to give Carrie 5 years, okay?
Thank you both. Mary's already got receipts for her. I now invite Natalie to light the chalice. This is Soul Fire by Anastasia Baroche. As we light this flame of hope, may our congregation become a kaleidoscope of souls and people. In the presence of this flame, in me, in you, in us, is an invitation to sit at the table. May we tend our soul fire through these challenging and trying times, to open our hearts and our minds of all who enter our doors. Now please join me in saying our unison affirmation on the screen. This flame affirms the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment. Love is the doctrine that we share, the quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve human need. Thus do we covenant with one another.
It is our custom to provide donations of non-perishable food and personal care items for Pathways of Hope, a local food bank. Please check the dates on your items, as we are unable to donate anything that's expired. As the children come forward, they're asked to collect the donations placed at the end of the rows. And now, the children are invited to come forward for the Time for All Ages.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
Our cup runneth over this morning. Our big red bin runneth over, which is great. Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. I'm going to sit with Anya and all my other friends. And so, before I get started, officially, I want to give out a shout out to Carrie and Mr. Van Diest, because I don't know if he remembers me. Oh, he does. Okay. He was my 7th and 8th grade history and journalism teacher. And so, hi. So I have some friends who are like, you were in 7th, you're going to 8th, right? And you're 5th. So you guys will have some great teachers. You guys will have some great teachers like Mr. Van Diest. So anyways, hi. I feel like when I was in middle school, I remember seeing you, Carrie. We knew you as Mr. Van Diest's wife, and I think you were pregnant at some point in that time. So welcome, and thank you for all the nice emails, and I'm sure I'll be annoying you occasionally. So, like Rev Rob said earlier, the grown-ups will be talking about hospitality today, which is kind of a big word. What do you guys know about that word? Yes, Zayden?
It's being treated in a hospital.
Yeah, tell us.
So it's being in a hospital, kind of. And being health.
Here, pass it to Joseph.
I say health.
Health, yeah. Yeah, hospital and hospitality come from the same root.
It's to show someone hospitality is to be a good host.
Here, ask your question.
What's host mean?
Exactly. What does it mean to be a good host? So being a host, I'll let you answer in a second, is kind of what they're probably going to talk about today a little bit, is meaning like when guests come, like when you're at a hotel.
Good. You treat them good.
Exactly. A good host means you treat people good. You treat people well. And what were you going to say, Zayden?
It's it's like if someone's visiting at your house, you take care of them good.
Exactly. So, hold on. I will let you say something. No, we're not going to shush. We're just going to take our turns. So, exactly. It's all about being good to the people that you're taking care of and learning about what that means.
Hospitality sometimes means that it's like someone comes to your house, you don't just say, we play this, not your game. How about we mix it together? Treat them good.
Exactly. No, it is, because like she said, if someone comes over to your house, and my little clue up here, it's be our guest, which I was in a very Beauty and the Beast mode. It's be our guest, Lumiere. Yeah.
Be our guest.
Exactly. So when Belle comes to the castle, she's not happy, obviously. And so Lumiere's trying to make her feel at home in this big, dark, scary castle with this scary beast. Yeah, I know. There was some drama there. So to show her a good time, to make her feel welcome, they gave her this big fancy dinner. And he said, be our guest, put our service to the test. So I want us to think of some ways exactly that, no, it's okay. She's getting it. She's interacting. I love it. That's what we want. Yeah, she didn't know what that meant. And that's why we're talking about it, because it's important. And so I want us to think about how at some point we all came through those doors for the first time and we were a guest. Maybe everyone here was a stranger. Maybe you knew one person. Hold on. And maybe for some of us, it's now our home. So I want us to think about how you go from being a guest or a stranger or a newcomer to, this is my home. I belong here. I feel safe here. I feel comfortable here. So what's a way or two that we can make that difference? How do you go from feeling like, oh, I'm new, I don't know anyone, to being like, my family's here?
Introducing yourself?
And I think that goes both ways. He said introducing yourself, and I think it goes from host to guest and guest to host, because all of a sudden, if you know someone's name, that's the beginning of a relationship.
Like when you go to school, you should introduce yourself, and people might get to know you more than you know them.
Exactly, and that goes the same here at our congregation, and how you have to form a relationship. You can never be at home, you can never be more than a guest if you don't have relationships. So we're gonna leave it at that and think about how we can form stronger and stronger relationships and a better community so more people can feel at home here. So we are gonna go practice that in our RE room as we have more adventures in Covenantia. So have fun learning, adults. We're gonna have more fun than you, probably.
Go with wisdom, go with wonder, go to greet a brand new day. Learn to see the light within you as we send you on your way. Go with wisdom, go with wonder, go to greet a brand new day. Learn to see the light within you as we send you on your way.
Aren't they amazing? I could listen to them all morning. And many are starting school this week. Next week, we'll have a message on new beginnings, and I'll be doing the children's moment. So we're excited about school starting again. It is now time for our joys, our sorrows, our concerns. We begin by lighting a candle for all the concerns for the larger world. Our wish for peace and justice, our hopes for our kids who will inherit this planet, our love and embrace for truth and science and compassion and empathy. May we continue to remember those who we lost during COVID, our nurses and our doctors, the scientists who made everything possible. This candle represents all of those joys and those sorrows and those concerns that may have happened this week. This candle also represents our wishes, our calls to action that are more than we can articulate in this space. And now some personal joys and sorrows. Mary Botts has a joy. Yesterday, they had a board retreat. And when we say board, we mean B-O-A-R-D, not B-O-R-E-D, because I heard it was amazing. Mary writes, it was absolutely wonderful. You have an awesome board this year. You do. You are an awesome board. I second that. This is a sorrow from Allison Daniels. Thinking of my mom, Patricia Burnett, Today would have been her 84th birthday. We lost her last year. For those painful anniversaries and heavenly birthdays that most of us carry, we send love and light to you, Allison, and to you, Gary, during this sacred and joyous and sorrowful time. May those memories continue to be a blessing to you both. We now light one more candle for all the joys, concerns, and sorrows that remain unexpressed but are still held close to our hearts. Please join me in saying our affirmation on the screen. We join you in celebrating your joys. May you feel our love and compassion for your sorrows and concerns, for all that is spoken and unspoken. May the caring of our beloved community sustain us all.
For our next hymn, we'll be singing We Would Be One, hymn 318. You may rise in mind, body, or spirit and join us in singing.
We would be one as now we join in singing our hymn of love to pledge ourselves anew to that high cause of greater understanding of who we are and what in us is true. We would be one in living for each other to show on all a new community. We would be one in building for tomorrow a nobler world than we have known today. We would be one in searching for that meaning which binds our hearts and points us on our way. As one we pledge ourselves to greater service, with love and justice strive to make us free.
You may be seated.
Got it. Now, let us move into the spirit of meditation, reflection, and prayer. You may close your eyes, take a deep breath, stare at a spot on the floor, whatever helps you find your center. A reading on Imagination and Being an Ally by Douglas Taylor. There's one word that is particularly vital to understanding people who are in some way different. One word that allows for the hospitality towards strangers to be real and authentic. One word for the work of being an ally to come alive. The word is imagination. Imagination is the critical piece of recognizing and honoring differences. Stretch yourself. Imagine a new possibility. Begin where you are. Listen to other people. Entertain strangers in your midst, and stay open to the hope of a new beginning bursting into your life in ways you've never imagined. Let us now share a minute of silence. Thank you, Christine. That was beautiful, as always. A reading from Walking Toward Morning by Victoria Safford, titled, Any Other Questions? People ask me sometimes, is this a gay church? It is a privilege to answer. Ours is absolutely, gladly, hopefully, and humbly, gaily a gay church, a gay tradition where everyone, including heterosexual members and friends, is welcome, where everyone is needed, where everyone's experience is treasured, cherished as a sacred text, because no one's experience of living or loving can be comprehensive, because each of us holds clues the others need about how to live with dignity and joy as a human person. And none of us knows enough about that yet to be considered whole. It is absolutely a gay church, even as ours is a gay world, if you would look around. Gay church, straight church, people's church, a human congregation made holy by the holy hopes and fears and dreams of all who wish to come. Come in, we say, come out, come in, we're all in this together. I will not speak of tolerance with its courteous, clenched teeth and bitter resignation. I will not speak about acceptance of other people around some other kind of lifestyle. I can only look in laughing wonder at human life in all its incarnations. I can taste only in passing the breath of the spirit of life on my mouth and understanding our common longing to breathe in deep, deep gulps of it. I cannot think of being anybody else's ally even, because even that implies some degree of separation, some degree of safety for some of us, not all. We are allied with no one and with nothing but love, the larger love transcending all our understanding, within which all the differing, generously various, variant, beautifully deviant aspects of ourselves are bound in elegant unity. I know that on some sad and disappointing days, these words describe the church that yet shall be and not the church that is. I know. But I know, too, that to answer is an act of creation. To answer this question and some others is a privilege, a prophetic imperative, a joy, a duty, and a holy sacrament.
Thank you, Megan Smock, for finding that beautiful reading. We appreciate all you do. And thank you very much, Natalie. So they tell you never to read the comments. You probably heard that from actors and superstars, that you don't read the comments. Well, I decided to read the comments. This week, I guess you could call it a mistake, an intentional mistake of reading what people online had to say about religious hospitality. And that is a book full of worms. Or a can. Is the can full of worms? Not a book full. I'm mixing them up. So here we go. You're going to hear a couple of these, I think, important and informative personal experiences. Some of them may not relate to here, okay? So this is not an accusation. This is our opportunity to learn and to grow. Just put that out there. No shame, blame, or guilt from up here. One person wrote, I walked past the church greeter 4 times, and every single time he asked if I wanted a bulletin. Every single time I said, I already have one. Then there was this one. Greeter, is this your first time here? Me? I've been coming for 17 years. Okay, it's kind of funny, because beneath the humor is something really human. Every one of us wants to be seen. Hospitality isn't coffee or donuts or name tags. Those things are amazing. Our after-church meals are amazing. And they're important, but they're not hospitality like in the Holiday Inn going to get your waffles in the morning. So I want to frame it this way. Hospitality is helping someone move from feeling like a stranger to feeling like they belong. Not to fit in. Fitting in means you're changing yourself to be something different, but to belong. The writer of Hebrews understood this centuries ago. The writer says, "Do not neglect to show hospitality to strangers, for by doing so, some have entertained angels unaware." Interesting framing there. Some have entertained angels unaware. Interesting thought, because the stranger standing in front of you is carrying something holy and sacred. That's what that means. Whether you take it as a metaphor or as part of your faith, it invites us to look deeper. Hinduism carries a remarkably similar teaching in that holiness. There is an ancient phrase, Atithi Devo Bhava. It means the guest is God. Imagine if every person who walked through a community of faith wasn't evaluated by what they were wearing or whether they looked like us or whether they'd fit into our congregation. Imagine if we put on this spiritual filter and wondered, what if the sacred has just walked through the front door? And it's not what if, it's when, because all are sacred when they walk through these doors. Hospitality is a spiritual practice. Again, it's not about the donuts, it's the heart behind the food. It begins the moment another human being feels noticed. And as I read hundreds of comments about people talking about actually UU congregations, one thing became very clear. Almost no one began by talking about the sermon. It's all about me. They talked about how they were welcomed or ignored or judged or dismissed or embraced. You may have heard this saying before. People remember how something makes them feel long before they remember what was preached in the pulpit. Heck, I can't remember what I preached last week. And think of you all as those ministers as well, that you are the sermon. It begins in the parking lot, the front door. It begins with a smile or a remembering of a name or noticing the person that's standing alone. Hospitality is about much more than making a good impression. But many people walking through the doors of a sanctuary is trauma-inducing. I'm trying to get away from the word triggering, okay, because that has a negative connotation with trauma. It brings trauma responses. I've shared with you before that this sanctuary, before I became your minister, had a lot of trauma in it because of my past church, and there had been a vote on LGBTQ plus community being a part of the board in the Disciples of Christ, and people got up and said, we can't have them, they're unclean. So I did not come back this was not at First Christian Fullerton, this was at a regional event. I did not come back in the sanctuary for 2 years. I would not go to a regional assembly for 2 years. And as a minister, we carry those things. So people who are walking through these doors with trauma, this is an extraordinary act of courage. Many of us arrive carrying grief or loneliness or just plain exhaustion. Some come because life has fallen apart and they don't know where else to go. And many carry deep religious trauma and quietly wonder whether this place will wound them again or finally help them heal. The comments about why people stayed at UU congregations or why they never came back, they were mixed. I was actually surprised because I am so blessed to be here. But again, the one thing that emerged that I'm going to continue to preach about is belonging. And underneath belonging, there was something even deeper, and that was healing. Many weren't looking for just another congregation. They were still recovering from the last one. One person wrote that they had grown up in a congregation where asking questions was treated like rebellion. We ask questions here. Curiosity, they said, wasn't encouraged. It was punished. And they eventually left religion altogether. And then years later, they found themselves missing spiritual community. They wanted ritual and music and reflection and people to accompany them. Not fix them, not give them advice, but just be present with them. But they admitted they were terrified to try again because, in their words, church people had never met meaner people. Many churches are filled with kind, generous, and compassionate people, but because we have to look at each person's story and meet them where they are. And imagine carrying that sentence into every new spiritual community. I've never met meaner people. Imagine opening a church door while your nervous system is already bracing for disappointment. Here's another story. They wrote, I'm not looking for a church. I'm looking for a place where my nervous system can finally relax. Where my nervous system can finally relax. I suspect there are people sitting in this sanctuary and in this pulpit who understand what this means. Some of us have spent years living with anxiety or shame or fear. Some of us know what it's like to scan every room before we walk in, wondering if we're going to be judged, wondering if we'll be safe, wondering if we're too gay. That changes everything about hospitality. Hospitality isn't friendliness. Friendliness is a way of being. It is an action of creating safety. Every Sunday, someone walks through these doors carrying invisible stories. I was looking through someone who was told that they were going to hell or rejected by their family because of who they love, or taught that doubt was a sin, or that they were broken. And I'll remind you that many UU churches didn't become welcoming communities until couple of decades ago. Even the UUs, just difficult to believe. I believe, what year did we? I forget what year, but we are a welcoming community, obviously. And every Sunday, people are asking questions they may never say out loud. The irony is that churches often become very good at organizing volunteers. But one person wrote that they had been deeply involved in their UU congregation. They served on communities and volunteered constantly and helped with events. They were the kind of member every congregation loves. And then one day they realized something. They didn't have a single close friend. They wrote, "I was useful, but I wasn't known." Again, this is not necessarily directed at you, but we need to meet people and their experiences where they are. That is the path to healing. And I wonder how many congregations mistake participation for belonging. You know, religion is often good at giving people jobs. Religion is not always as good at giving people friendships and relationships. And there's a profound difference. A committee can use your gifts. Only a community can know your heart. One person joked online that if you really wanted visitors never to return, you only needed 3 things: confusing language, unclear systems, and a coffee hour where everyone talks only to the people they already know. But that's what we do as humans, right? We drift toward familiarity. We gather with our friends. We tell ourselves, oh, we'll meet the visitor later, next week at worship, and sometimes eventually never comes. So this is a matter of setting the intention and sometimes saying, you know what, today I am going to be that person, to bless another human being and see them. Hospitality, then, is the spiritual practice of interrupting what feels comfortable for the sake of someone who is not yet included. And I think that's one of the hardest spiritual disciplines there is, because it asks us to leave the comfort of the familiar so someone else can discover they belong. This one stopped me in my tracks, this story. It was written by a trans person named Evie, who attended a very small Unitarian Universalist congregation of about 20 people. Evie uses they, them pronouns. They wrote that they had never once introduced themselves using she or her, yet because of how they looked, people consistently referred to them that way anyway. Let me make it clear. I work in high school with many different students who use different pronouns. And I have, at times, misgendered them. It's not about the misgendering. It's about the repair in saying, I'm sorry, I will try better. And at first, Evie corrected people gently, then more directly. And eventually, they even offered an educational presentation during a worship service about trans identity and the importance of using someone's correct pronouns. They weren't asking the congregation to understand everything. They were simply asking to be seen, and yet nothing changed. Week after week, they were misgendered, month after month, year after year, and the congregation even implemented a practice. I can't believe this practice existed. If someone said something hurtful, another person would say, ouch. And then the speaker would respond, oops. It was meant to create accountability without responsibility. Yeah, I know. Ouch and oops. Instead of I'm sorry, I'm trying to learn. Please help me understand. Because oops doesn't heal much, if anything. It actually is offensive. What broke my heart wasn't that people made mistakes. What broke my heart was what happened when Evie finally admitted they couldn't keep doing this. They told another member they were thinking of leaving, and instead of hearing Evie's pain, the conversation shifted toward how guilty and sad the other person felt being corrected. Once again, the emotional burden landed on the person who had already been carrying it. Evie ended with two questions. How can a community call itself inclusive if it repeatedly fails to see the people it claims to welcome? The second, is there anywhere I can go where I will actually be seen as I am? This is not a theological question that they ask. It's a survival question. It's a question of someone whose spirit has become exhausted. Because religious trauma isn't always loud. Sometimes it is thousands of tiny moments that quietly tell a person, you don't quite belong. So hospitality is choosing to tell a different story. I see you. I'll keep learning. You matter enough for me to get it right. Hospitality isn't perfection. Y'all chose me as your minister. It is love that refuses to stop this insanity of continuing to do the same things over and expect different things to happen. So we've gone through Hinduism, we've gone through Hebrews. Let's look at the Christian angle now. Jesus understood that. We often think of the parable of the Good Samaritan as a story about kindness, and it is, but is much more than that. Okay? The priest saw the wounded man. The Levite saw him too. They just kept walking as this man was suffering. And then Jesus does something astonishing. He makes a hero out of a Samaritan who is an outsider. The one in his audience had already decided couldn't possibly be the example of faithful living. The disciples thought Jesus was crazy. The stranger, the outsider, became the neighbor. So we can apply Hebrews, we can apply Hinduism, we can apply Buddhism, we can apply Christianity, we can apply Sikhism with the same theme. Compassion is an interruption. It interrupts our conversations. It interrupts schedules, assumptions, comfort. Love almost always does. Buddhism teaches a beautiful practice called metta, or loving kindness. Practitioners begin by extending compassion to someone they love and then to themselves, then to someone they barely know, then even to someone they find difficult. Why? Because suffering doesn't recognize categories, and neither should compassion. Someone wrote that they had left their UU congregation because they disagreed with its values. They loved the values. They left because every sermon had become almost entirely political. They wrote, I already know the world is hurting. I need help and hope learning how to live in it. I understand that. As your minister, I will never stop speaking about justice. Silence in the face of oppression has never been a faithful option. But justice and hospitality belong together. So the goal isn't simply to leave worship angry at the world. The goal is to leave more deeply rooted in love, to become people who can confront injustice without surrendering our humanity, who can disagree without dehumanizing, who can tell difficult truths without forgetting the dignity of every human being. That's why we gather. It is a spiritual refill to get out into a complex world, as Greta Thunberg says, is on fire. Our Unitarian Universalist values call us toward that community. Love at the center, justice rooted in compassion, pluralism that welcomes difference instead of merely tolerating it, interdependence that reminds us none of us heals alone, transformation that keeps us growing, generosity that widens the circle and makes room for another chair at the table. Hospitality is not committees. It is not name tags at the door. It is not just our welcome table. It belongs to every one of us. Belonging rarely happens through grand gestures. It happens in ordinary moments. It happens when someone comes in new and says, "Sit with us." Or, "How are you?" and then waits long enough to hear the answer. Most of us can remember a time when we were an outsider, standing at the edge of the room, wondering whether anybody would notice. And that memory is not accidental. It is one of our greatest spiritual teachers, and it reminds us what welcome feels like and what the absence of that feels like. So next Sunday, I invite you to make the intention when someone walks through those doors, maybe for the first time, maybe for the 17th year, maybe carrying grief, fear, religious trauma, to reach out to them. Because they're not going to remember my sermon. They may remember the food, but they will remember how you made them feel. Hebrews tells us the stranger may be an angel. Hinduism tells us the guest is God. Jesus tells us the outsider and enemy is our neighbor. Buddhism reminds us that compassion belongs to everyone. Different traditions, but the beauty of UU is that we recognize there is one sacred truth. Belonging and love. So may we become a healing congregation, a place where someone who may be misgendered for years might finally be seen, a place where someone carrying religious trauma might finally exhale. May we do this one conversation at a time, one smile at a time, one act of courage at a time, because perhaps the greatest act of hospitality we will ever offer another human being is a quiet, sacred assurance that says, you don't have to earn your place here. You already belong. May it be so.
At UUCF, we embrace the possibility of a world filled with peace, acceptance, justice, and love. By our financial commitment, we help this congregation make those possibilities real in a challenging world. Basket is being brought around the sanctuary, and there are payment options on the screens. Whatever you are able to give is received with gratitude. We thank you for your commitment and generosity.
Just want to let you know, parents out there, next week when I'm doing a time for all ages, there will be a blessing of the backpacks. So if you want to bring in your kids' backpacks, or if that's too much to worry about, we will just act like they are here and bless them. What? Or your parents. We need to bless y'all as well. After probably a very long summer and the happiness that we're back to some semblance of order again. So here is the invitation. Notice the stranger. Learn their name. Listen to their story. Make room at the table. And together, let us, I'm not going to say build a world, let us continue on our journey to building a world where no human being ever has to earn the right to belong. Let this be a place to provide sanctuary and refuge for the stranger. And so, we invite Natalie to come up and extinguish the chalice. We now extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth or the warmth of community or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts wherever we may go. And so we say together, Amen, Shalom, Salam, Namaste, and blessed be.
For our closing hymn, we'll be singing hymn number 131, Love Will Guide Us. You may rise in mind, body, or spirit and join us in singing.
To
Please join us for our fellowship. I was going to do this one.